The wealthy rarely lose to the market. They lose to themselves, never quite realizing it. Watch when money moves fast. Most rush to react, while a few stay strangely still. That stillness is not luck at all. It was trained through years of small daily choices. Most believe wealth comes from clever moves. The calm know it is built from unmade choices. Emotional discipline does the lifting. Strategy gets the credit, but temperament quietly does the real work. By the end of these minutes, something shifts. You see the temperament behind nearly every fortune. You will notice where your thinking interrupts. That noticing is already the first invisible step forward. Listen when the wealthy describe their best decisions. They sound boring, slow, almost obvious in retrospect. The emotion was removed before the decision arrived. That removal is the entire skill nobody teaches. We treat money like weather. We react to every gust, headline, and shift in mood. The wealthy treat money like a season, something to wait through with patience and preparation. This is the gap that matters most. Not intelligence, income, connections, timing, or luck arriving. Is the steady distance between feeling and action. That space silently decides almost every financial outcome. Emotional discipline is not coldness or numbness. It is feeling everything and still choosing slowly anyway. The feeling arrives fully, but the action waits. It waits for clearer thinking before the next move is made. That choice looks small from outside. Inside, it is the entire architecture of lasting personal wealth. Every fortune is a long chain of those choices. Pauses across decades compound into something extraordinary. Picture two people receiving the same news. Markets drop, savings shrink, headlines scream urgent danger. One sells immediately in fear. The other pours a quiet cup of coffee and waits for morning. The seller is not weaker or less smart. They simply let fear write their next sentence for them. The calm one let fear speak, then said gently, "Not today," and turned towards something else entirely. Multiply that across 30 years. The difference is not strategy. It is a deeply practiced temperament. Most short-term thinking starts with feeling. Excitement when something rises, fear when something suddenly falls. The wealthy learn one quiet lesson early. Feelings, however loud, make terrible financial advisors over time. They do not silence emotion. They give it a chair in the room, never the steering wheel. Think of the calmest wealthy person you read about. Their secret was rarely a hidden formula or insider edge. It was the unglamorous ability to do nothing, to sit still while everyone else did something noisy. Doing nothing is the hardest financial skill alive. It pays no excitement, no story, no applause from anyone. Yet across decades, it outperforms every loud move. The unmade trade is often worth more than the brilliant trade. Here's the part most get backwards. They think the wealthy stay calm because they already have money. In truth, they have money because they stayed calm. Temperament arrived first, and visible wealth slowly followed behind. Skip the temperament, and the rest never really arrives. Or it arrives briefly, then leaks back through cracks. You see this with lottery winners and sudden inheritances. Money lands in untrained hands and quietly drains away. The container was simply too small inside. Feelings filled the space discipline was supposed to occupy. Emotional discipline is building a bigger inner container, one that holds gains without arrogance, losses without panic. Most grow income, but never the inner container. So whatever arrives leaks out through stress and reactive choices. This is why raises often feel like they vanished. The container did not grow, so the money found no home. The wealthy guard their reactions more than their dollars. One panic decision can undo years of patient compounding. Notice how money regret is usually emotional, not strategic. We rarely regret learning. We regret trades made in fear. We regret the purchase made to soothe the quiet ache. The ache was real, but money was the wrong language. That ache is worth understanding instead of avoiding. Money becomes the words for our unspoken inner feelings. Loneliness, boredom, comparison, anxiety, dressed as harmless purchases. The receipt says coffee, but the real cost is deeper. The disciplined do something subtle here. They translate the feeling back into its real name before spending. A walk answers boredom, a conversation answers loneliness. Money answers only a narrow band of real problems. When that translation becomes automatic, spending changes naturally, not through restriction, but through accuracy about feelings. This is where temperament compounds silently. Each unmade impulse becomes a deposit into your calmer future self. Consider the calm person wading through a storm. Friends sell, news panics, advisors hesitate, and noise grows unbearable. They sit with the discomfort respectfully. They let time finish its slow, patient, mostly invisible work. Time is the wealthy person's quiet partner. It cooperates with those who refuse to interrupt its process. Most fortunes are built not by entering perfectly. They are built by refusing to exit at the worst moment. That refusal is almost entirely emotional, not analytical. It comes from temperament, not from charts or calculation. Pause here for a moment of honest reflection. Think back to your last money decision driven by feeling. Was it excitement, fear, comparison, shame, or something quieter underneath? There is no judgment in the question, only useful information. Your emotional patterns around money are your most valuable map. Reading them honestly is how the temperament slowly begins changing. If you feel like sharing, write that pattern below. 1 or 2 lines about which emotion most often steers you. Someone scrolling past your comment may quietly recognize themselves. Your honesty often becomes the small permission another viewer needed today. You're not alone in whatever pattern you noticed. Naming it openly is already the first quiet act of discipline. Now return to the deeper principle. Emotional discipline is not really about controlling money or its movement. It is about not being controlled by money feelings. The market moves, but you are no longer dragged behind it. You stop fighting markets, prices, and headlines. You start tending to the only variable you actually own inside. Your reactions are the one financial asset you control. Not rates, not the economy, not your salary, not luck. The wealthy expand that space deliberately, year by year. A breath before a purchase, a night before any decision. A week before any move fear demanded. A month before any decision a stranger urgently insists upon now. The pause is where temperament does invisible work. It is where the wise decision separates from the reactive one. You can practice this with no money changing hands. Notice when something financial sharply spikes your emotion inside. Then watch the feeling without obeying it. 60 seconds of watching beats 60 days of strategy reading. That single minute repeated often rewires something deep. You stop being a passenger to your own reactive automatic patterns. There is a common myth worth dismantling here, that discipline means a joyless, restrictive, constantly anxious financial life ahead. The opposite is closer to the truth instead. True emotional discipline produces lightness, not heaviness, in everyday living. You stop checking accounts compulsively all day long. You stop comparing your quiet numbers to strangers performing online for attention. You stop reading every headline as personal emergency. The news returns to being news, not a threat aimed at you. That freedom is what wealth actually feels like inside. Not yachts, not logos, not crowded rooms applauding your recent success. Just a quiet nervous system around money. A body that does not flinch when the balance moves either direction. Many people with large numbers never feel that quiet. Many with modest numbers already do, and they sleep deeply. The temperament can arrive long before the fortune does. In fact, the temperament is what quietly invites the fortune in. Here is one grounded way to begin building this. Choose one money decision you usually make completely on autopilot. Add a single overnight pause between impulse and action. Sleep on it once, and the morning quietly cast its vote. That pause is the entire practice in miniature. It teaches your nervous system that money is rarely a real emergency. If something demands a decision within the hour, be suspicious. Genuine opportunities rarely demand panicked speed from you. Urgency is usually a tool someone uses on emotion. The calm, wealthy, distressed urgency across one quiet night. Imagine money as a slow river, not a passing train. Trains demand you jump now or be left behind forever. Rivers keep flowing endlessly past your feet. You can step in whenever you are calm and clear inside. Most financial fear is built on the train illusion. The calm wealthy quietly live by the river version instead. This single shift relaxes enormous hidden inner pressure. You stop feeling like every decision is your final remaining chance. You choose from abundance, not from scarcity. Decisions made from that softer place tend to age remarkably well. Scarcity thinking is the emotional opposite of discipline. It rushes, grabs, hoards, panics, regrets, and apologizes much later. Discipline waits, watches, weighs, and rarely apologizes later. The patient decision rarely needs the explanation. A panicked one demands. You can feel the difference in your own body. Scarcity tightens the chest and shortens breath into shallow, nervous sips. Discipline softens the shoulders and lengthens the slow exhale. Your physiology is quietly one of the best financial advisors available. Another quiet habit is how the calm handle gains. A sudden windfall does not change their identity overnight or quickly. Most unconsciously raise lifestyle the moment income rises. The calm wealthy raise patience first and lifestyle slowly later. That delay is where ordinary money becomes lasting wealth. The gap between earning and spending is filled with quiet patience. Identity stability around money is deeply underrated wealth. Storms cannot bankrupt you, only your accounts, which can rebuild. We often tie self-worth to recent financial performance. A good month feels like validation, a bad one like failure. The discipline to separate these things gently and completely. Their worth is not a graph, and the graph is not them. Without separation, every loss becomes existential and crushing. With it, even significant losses remain manageable, painful but survivable. You keep your center while your numbers move around. That center is what we are really building together here today. Strategies will come and go across your life. Only that inner center stays with you throughout every season. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Build the temperament first, and the rest organizes itself slowly around it. You do not need a large income to start. Temperament is practiced on small decisions long before large ones arrive. The $5 choice is the same inner muscle as the 5,001 and eventually the much larger ones. That is good news if you let it land. You are not waiting for wealth to begin behaving wealthy inside. Notice your next small money moment with quiet curiosity. A coffee, a subscription, a quick glance at your account balance. Watch the feeling rise, breathe, then choose gently. Over weeks, that small practice rewires something quietly foundational underneath everything. Take a moment now, before this closes, to reflect. Which feeling around money has quietly cost you most across years? Naming it silently to yourself is already movement. The temperament begins changing the instant the pattern is honestly seen. If something resonated, leave a quiet note below. Even one sentence about your pattern can help another viewer breathe. If you want more calm money psychology, subscribe. Tap the bell so the next reflection finds you when ready. We move slowly here towards something genuinely worth having. A steadier inner life and a steadier outer one slowly following. The wealthy are not a different species at all. They learned over time to keep feelings out of the wheel. That learning is available to you starting today, beginning with the very next small decision you make about money. Emotional discipline sits behind almost every fortune, not because the wealthy feel less, but because they react far less. Build that quiet space, patiently, again and again. Money slowly becomes a friend instead of a storm you survive.